Okay, so I have to tell you this story. I've been waiting to tell you guys it for a while now because you know how I was saying we're flying Spirit and a ton of people said like negative things about it, and I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna see for myself. I saw it for myself. No bueno. Never flying Spirit Airlines ever again. Our flight there was delayed for no reason other than they have a system that does not work. The way back, though, is quite the story. So, the way back, we had a flight that was supposed to be at 9:30 p.m. and we got off the boat at, I'd say noon. Because, no, maybe like 11. And had to go through customs and then had to wait in the taxi line, and we rented a car, drove around Fort Lauderdale for a while, and all of us were just kind of tired, so we're like, we don't want to go shopping, we just want to like sit and not do anything. We had eaten and blah blah blah. So we go back to the airport, and right when this was probably at like 4 o'clock. Our flight's supposed to be at 9:30. Right when we checked in, they already said that it's going to be delayed till about 11. We're like, oh, whatever, an hour. Who cares? But then, like, bad weather came into Florida, and they just had this, like, it wasn't even that bad. Like, I know some flights out of Fargo go out in blizzards. Well, not blizzards, but snowy weather. It wasn't that big of a deal, and it maybe lasted like an hour or two. So, oh my gosh, okay, I'm getting to the story here. So we're waiting, and then they like give us a teaser, and they put at our gate that our flight is on time, and they're like, it's gonna be on time, yay. Then it gets delayed again, and then time passes by and it gets delayed again until 1 a.m. Our plane had been sitting at the gate since 8 p.m. We were waiting on some flight attendants that were coming from Nicaragua, I think. So these flight attendants were coming in. They come in, everybody's woohoo, go to the plane. This was at like midnight, maybe 12:30, and they come back out, and there's a cosmetic maintenance thing that they have to take care of, and yada yada yada. Had to wait longer, got delayed again until I don't even remember what time. So our flight that is supposed to be at 9:30 p.m. it is now like 1:30 a.m. and we may not even take off. Everybody's just ticked because they're like, if the flight was going to be canceled, you should have told us, and this should have been addressed at 8:30 because the plane has been sitting since 8:30. And then the co-pilot, pilot, and flight attendants and Spirit Airlines representatives had fear on their face, and they went and had a little powwow in the gate where nobody could hear them. Comes back out, and the co-pilot is explaining how there is a law that, you know, a pilot can only work X amount of numbers in a single shift. Makes complete sense, right? Well, our pilot needed to be in the air by 3 a.m. or he couldn't fly. So it was this mad rush and mad, like, crazy people, like, really, find a pilot. We need to get home. This is ridiculous. You've kept us here all day. These things should have been planned and thought out ahead of time. And they weren't. It was poor, like, just, they have a system that does not work. Any other airline would have had it all figured out ahead of time, not Spirit Airlines. As you know, we are waiting at the airport. We're all using our phones a ton, and the battery dies. I was charging my phone when the pilot came on and said the maintenance thing is fixed. We need to board the plane promptly and efficiently and quickly, which is really funny because we've been waiting all day, all night for this flight, and now they want us to hurry up. But anyways, they were like, you need to be prompt, you need to get on the plane. It's about 2:30 a.m. 2:30 a.m. I'm tired. I'm cranky. I want to go home. Once we landed, we still had a 3-hour flight because we drove from Fargo to Minneapolis. So once we get home, we have a 3-hour drive home, and I left my phone charging in the wall of the terminal of the gate in the airport. I left it. Like, I realized it when I got on the flight. Battery died. Okay, back to the story. So where I left off is basically I left my phone. So when we land, I call the airport's lost and found. Long story short, he was really no help. And in the meantime, my dad is a worrywart, and I'm definitely a daddy's girl. My dad is getting a phone call from my phone. He's like so pumped because he hasn't talked to me all week. He's just really excited. And he answers the phone, and it's this man's voice that says, "Hi, are you the dad of the person that owns this phone?" And my dad said his heart just dropped. Like, he didn't know. He was in shock. And basically, I knew my phone was found. He said he was going to return it to the lost and found, and we'll set up plans to send it back. So I called lost and found again, because of course the guy didn't call me. He said he had the phone for an hour but never called me to tell me. And he basically said, "I'm going to email you an invoice and the directions for shipping it back." Cool. I'm like, I'll just go to Verizon and get my iPhone 4 reactivated. No big deal. Just wait till get my iPhone 4 reactivated, and then have them ship my iPhone 5 back. To ship my iPhone 5 back, it was $50, and then on top of that, it was $40 just because I filed a lost and found claim. They sent me an invoice and I about died. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? The lost and found department had nothing to do with finding my phone. It was a wonderful, nice gentleman that found it and turned it in to the lost and found. And the guy never called me. I was always calling him. He basically just sent me an email that was a general email with shipping options, but I was paying for it. So it was almost $100 to get my phone back. The blessing in disguise was I went into Verizon and I was like, "Hey, I just want to activate this old phone." I was exhausted. I was seriously so tired. We hadn't slept yet. I had been up for, 30 hours. And I'm like, "Can you just activate this?" And he's like, "Well, I can activate this, or we can go over a couple options." And I'm like, a new iPhone 5S wouldn't be so bad. So here's my new beautiful gold iPhone 5S. And I walked out of there with a cheaper bill because they changed their plans recently. So mine is no longer, it doesn't even exist in their system of plans or whatever. So he set me up with a new plan that's going to be cheaper every month. And I got a new beautiful iPhone 5S. The only thing I had to pay for was $20. So for $20, I got a brand new iPhone and a cheaper plan. So it cost me more to send back my old phone than get a whole new phone. And so thank you very much, Verizon. Thank you very much, Verizon, for being a very, very honest, loyal company. I know, some people are like, "Verizon screws you over." No, they haven't done that. And no thank you, Sprint and the Fort Lauderdale airport, for the situation with my phone, because you were no help. You did not find my phone. I had a wonderful gentleman that was kind enough to pick it up and then bring it back to the airport. So yeah, that was the big story and how I ended my trip. Normally, in those situations, I would have reacted very hastily and really got upset and cry and like have uncontrolled, like if I think about past Joelle 3 years ago when I was going through depression and anxiety stuff, I would have been freaking out, just nerves and anxiousness and frustration with myself. I would have been in tears. But during this whole thing, my mom was even like, "Why are you so calm about this?" And I'm like, I need to give myself permission to be human sometimes, because we'd been up and traveling for 30 hours. We could have rented a car and drove home faster than that trip was to fly home. How crazy is that to think of? That's really crazy to think of. We could have drove home. But it just gave myself permission to be human. I understood that we had a long day of traveling. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to, have things like that happen, and it's gonna be okay. And I've been reading a book called Kiss That Frog, and I am going to be doing Book of the Month videos, because I know a lot of you guys have said that the books I've been suggesting have really helped you too. But the Book of the Month for this month is Kiss That Frog, and it is all about positive thinking. And one of the things, you can control your emotions. And how do you do that? Your thoughts trigger emotions. Change your thoughts, change your emotions. By allowing myself to be human, understanding that we had a long day, knowing I'm going to go to Verizon when I get to Fargo and we're going to figure something out, it'll be fine, is a thought that kept me calm. Previously in the past, 3 years ago when I was going through depression and anxiety, probably more like 4 years, I would have, and all through high school, I would have bawled, because my thoughts would have been, how could you do this, Joelle? You're so irresponsible. Now you have no phone. It's going to be a hassle. You're going to wait in line at Verizon and blah, blah, blah. All those negative thoughts would have been in my mind in the past. But now I just replace them with positive thoughts, and it changes your emotions. Seriously, it's not something that happened overnight, but it's something that happened over time and consistency. So I hope that story, I hope you're still watching this, but let's get back to the rest of what I eat in a day.